Michigan basketball, huge disappointment this year, and the question is Juwan Howard going to be able to fix it? I think the first thing they need to do is figure out who is coming back next year. You know, Gator, I thought that, and I wonder a little bit about this with Michigan basketball because I saw it firsthand with Michigan football, and there was a huge emphasis on getting to the NFL early in the Harbaugh era, and I felt like they got some players that were of that kind of talent, but some of them that was the goal, and that goal exceeded the goal of doing everything you could to win at the collegiate level. And the last couple of seasons, I've heard players talk about how everybody that is suiting up, or a higher percentage of people that are suiting up, are trying to win at that level. And I wonder if the emphasis needs to be more on somebody who is going to stay. That the third and fourth year players, and it's just a thought, I'm kind of spitballing an idea, but the third and fourth year players, guys that are going to stick around, become more valuable at the collegiate level than one and dones. Because, I mean, you go back and look at one of his highest rated recruiting classes a couple of years ago, and there's two went pro right away, Diabate and Houston. Another one transferred out, which was weird. Thought that player was going to be the starting point guard this year, and Frankie Collins. And then there's Kobe Buffkin, who was one of the lowest rated recruits, who is the most useful for Michigan at this point, right? So, you know, the lower rated recruit is something that I wonder if they need to consider. Yeah,
I mean, you look at I think the comparisons are always going to be made Michigan State, you know, and what Tom Izzo has done at Michigan State. Now, Michigan State hasn't won a national championship in a long time.
Yeah, and
right?
you need those players too.
You got to
right?
have those guys to get there, and you got to have players to get to a Final Four, and you know they still seem to be able to reproduce that to get to the Final Fours again. But he's got a knack of understanding that I'm not always going to land that one and done guy. What I'm hoping to get are guys that are good that I can develop, and by the time they leave as seniors, they're going to be really good players. They may not be professional players, but if I can hang on to them, I can turn them into great college players. And Juwan has one right now in Hunter Dickinson. He's a great college player.
Yep.
Now, I don't know how great he was yesterday in the second half of that game, but hey, during the season, he was great. You know, he led the team in, scoring and rebounds each of the last 3 seasons, what he's done there. He will go down as one of those great college players. That's how you win in college basketball. You have to have great college players. Not necessarily guys who are going to make it in the pros and be a lottery pick, but you've got to have a bunch of these guys. And it's a sales job. And now with the portal, you're always selling. You have to kind of resell these athletes that this is the place to be. We're building something. And if you can do it, then you're going to have a lot of success. Unfortunately for them, they've had a lot of exodus from the program over the last couple of years because of who they have recruited. These are the one-and-done guys.
248-539-9797. I don't know. I mean, I think you need them, and yet I think of like the Beeline formula. He didn't go after them as much and had some pretty sustained success. But, you know, like I said, spitballing an idea. Bob is on 97.1 The Ticket. Hi, Bob.
Yeah, excuse me. Thanks for taking the call. You guys hit it right on the head. You know, this all goes back to the beginning of the year. This year, they struggled against Ohio University. You know, they lost to Central Michigan, which they shouldn't have. And, you know, he won a couple of years ago. Basically, I think with Bayline's talent, don't you? I mean, there were a few of them left, and I really feel bad for the big center. You know, he was All-American, sophomore year, and probably could have signed for a lot of money. And if he'll get a few bucks this year, but not that much. You know, he looked good last year and the year before. Yet last year he had the 2 NBA guys that were with him, even though they weren't that good. They were an offensive threat periodically, and I just think it's a shame. I don't think they are that talented. the guys he brought in just don't seem to be very good team players. He brings in the big 6'9" guy from Minnesota. He's pretty bad. The kid from Europe, I never smelled the floor. So, and he doesn't get the portal guys he gets are all like 6'1" guards. Supposedly are 3-point shooters. I feel bad the kid blew his knee out this year, but it's going to be, what's he got next year? Oh my goodness! Just look at who's on the bench. Most of them never got in the game this year. So, thanks for letting me call. I appreciate it, guys.
Well, thank you for the phone call. I mean, next year is hard to know because we got to see who's coming back, who is leaving, and what the portal will bring in. And I mean, they can still recruit. So, yeah, I mean, it feels as though, is this a classic? The whole doesn't add up to the sum of the parts or whatever the hell that saying is?
Something like that.
What's the
This
saying?
is 2 days in a row now.
Yeah. I don't know if I got it right or wrong. What'd I say? A
Zero-sum
game?
Love it.
Felt right. Kevin's on a cell and he's on 97.1. Hi, Kevin.
There's no synergy. That's what you're saying on the team. It's better than the sum of its parts going on in Michigan. And I think a lot of that is because of how Juwan handles his players and how the program deals with accountability on the floor and off the court. And I'm not going to disparage Juwan incredibly much, but, he's an immature guy, it seems. He's demonstrated that, and his coaching style is more laid back. And, do you ever see him undress his players or hold them accountable or get in the face of Juwan Howard? Because Izzo would act completely differently, and so would a number of coaches that are at the highest level because they've been there and they have that standard for themselves, and they hold their players accountable to the highest level. So I don't think it's about recruiting mid-level talent or guys that are going to stay 3 or 4 years. It's about making sure that the guys that are there are being held to a standard on and off the court that's commensurate with success.
The only thing I have seen him get in his players' faces and yell. Not like Izzo. Everybody's not going to be like that. But, yes, I have seen it. If you were Ward Manuel, what would you say to Juwan?
You got to mentor a guy like that, and I'm not sure that comes from Ward. I would guide him to some other coaches and get him in communications and figure out how to get that situation. He knows a lot, right? He's played a ton of basketball. He's been around the league. He obviously knows a lot, but he just doesn't know how, to me, to hold his players to that level where you see it. They don't have motivation some nights. That's on the coach. You don't have the energy. You don't have the focus. That's on the coach, making sure the kids know they have to be in that space all the time. You're going to get a lapse once in a while, but too frequently in 2 key moments, his team just doesn't look like they know what they're doing, and I think that's a lot about coaching. I think he rides Juwan out, but he needs help.